to Headingley on what looks to be a very bright, cold day. Pitch with no covering of snow at all. That's because, of course, Leeds have the undersoil heating. Just before this game, snow is really lashing down here. Let's have a look at the Warrington team. They're out in the pitch at the moment. It's Dave Lyon, Les Drummond, the danger men, Kilbrae, Tony Thornley, another danger man, Mike Forster, then Woods, Bishop, Roach, Tomati, Davidson, Sanderson, Roberts and Mike Gregory. Now looking at the Leeds lineup, it will be Andrew Hettinghausen at fullback. That's a change with Gary Spencer moving out to the wing, and Gary Schofield, David Stevenson, Carl Gibson, Cliff Lyons, Ray Ashton, Lee Crooks, Colin Maskell, Hugh Waddell, Roy Powell, Mark Cowden, David Hearn, and the substitutes Paul Medley and Sam Backbone. Leeds at the moment lying fourth with 12 points from their 8 games. Their home record, 3 wins and 1 defeat, 89 points scored, 52 against. Warrington's away record, well, they're 4 points behind Leeds at the moment with just 8 points, but their away record, 1 win and 3 defeats, 60 points scored, 66 against. A fairly dangerous side, Warrington. Leeds will have to be at their best if they're not to receive another defeat here at Headingley. Remember that they lost against Castleford last week under some very difficult circumstances. One try which was scored after 7 tackles, another knock-on, and another one where Gary Schofield, should I say, was tripped on his way to the line. Both captains there, number 13 for Warrington is Gregory, and number 8 Crooks for Leeds. He's seconds away from the start of this game, an important game for Leeds. They're fourth at the moment, in a good position to mount a challenge for the Stones Bitter Championship. And Castleford, especially playing against St Helens today, top against second place. Well, if Leeds win, chance to pull very close to Castleford. Of course, it's only a melting pot, and it's a very strong Warrington side. And coachless, of course, at the moment, Clive Griffiths in charge until the new man takes over next week. Surface taking a good stud. They've been down on the pitch prior to this game, and very little frost in it at all. And if you saw the surrounding districts in the Pennines, the heavy snowfalls during the evening. Ball deep into Leeds territory. Hettinghausen going to get his first touch at fullback. Carl Gibson in support. Breaks out a run tackle over 25. Roy Powell. Smothered there by Tomati. Roach in attendance as well. And Waddell. It'll be interesting to see how the Crooks fare today. Hugh Waddell and Lee Crooks against Roach and Davidson. And Lyons makes ground, beautifully picked up there by Des Drummond. So it's away to Drummond. Going forward, Davidson. Both pairs of props at each other right from the start. Neatly played by Roach. Puts it out to Roberts. The attention of 3 Leeds players. John Woods. So through to Bishop. Nice little kick. And Gary Spencer playing on the right flank for Leeds instead of his normal full-back position. Will take a little bit of time to settle down. He was unsure what to do, but has decided Andrew Hettinghausen needs to be more in the game, so he's scum going to Leeds. Lyons steps one way, steps the other, but he's got the attentions of John Lyon around him. He can't move very far. John Woods will play the ball. And Roy Powell. So easily tackled there. He's not running onto the ball with their usual fervour and speed. Just at the moment anyway. And Waddell, he's lost that ball in the tackle. But referee deciding that the ball's gone backwards, so Leeds retain possession. Crooks. Opposite number coming in there, Roach. And in fact the ball's been stolen in the tackle. And the chance now for Warrington inside the Leeds 25. Oh, out there, Blake. Blake going for the corner, and Blake's over. Well, some sloppy covering there by Leeds. And Blake's gone in at the corner, Phil Blake, with just under 5 minutes of the game. Warren Roach has been in at the corner. Superb. Sorry, Blake going in at the corner. Lovely little move, and Leeds wide open. And Blake goes in at the corner. Chance for John Woods to put Warrington 6 points to 0 in front. It's just drifting. Looking at the replay again. It's again, no doubting about it. Blake going in. And that kick from John Woods faded just to the left of the post. Just didn't quite have the length or the direction. So Warrington leading by 4 points to 0. And another long, deep kick straight into the arms of Ettinghausen. Feels it well, turns, comes over the 25, but he's going to be met straight away. And nobody backing him up there. In fact, only Gary Spencer was gone. He's reverted to full-back, takes the ball in the line. But once again, Leeds penned down, and if Andrew Ettinghausen had dropped that ball, then Leeds were in desperate trouble. Lee Crooks. John brushes aside Woods. Crooks inside there, neatly picked up one-handed by Stevenson. Stevenson inside, but Leeds then smothered by the Warrington tackling. Ashton puts it out, but Cowden's pass way back, and David Heron's pass there has put Gary Schofield in trouble. And a neat kick into touch by Cliff Lyons. Well, Leeds 4 points to 0 down to that early try by Phil Blake. And the second scrum of the game, first one going to Leeds. And the feed by Warrington, it comes out right out of the back of the scrum. David Heron in that tackle there. So, shock for this crowd. Looks to be around about 10,000 here, although a little less than I've seen at Headingley recently. They've not had a crowd of under 10,000 for a game. And the possibility that this might be the first one. Of course, losing to Castleford last week in the first round in the John Player, of course, this crowd's no good at all. Warrington anxious here to prove that to their new coach that they're worth their places in the side. And with men of the calibre of John Woods and Des Drummond, Mark Foster, and they're a side to be reckoned with the best of them. Coming up to 10 minutes on the watch. And oh, a lovely little ball inside, and away goes Thorniley. Thorniley, oh, brought to the ground by Ettinghausen, but that was a nice little break off of a pass by Davidson. Woods jinking and turning, just 10 yards out from the Leeds line. Chance here. Blake along the line. Ooh, and Crooks hammers Roberts to the ground. Slightly suicide ball there for Roberts. Oh, nice little ball through, comes off the legs of a Leeds defender, and Carl Gibson can't take that pass from David Stevenson, and so we're going to have a scrum. Some 30 yards out. Both sides anxious to throw the ball around. One scrum each at the moment. And Warrington win that one. Gregory, Woods, Davidson. Oh, nice play by Warrington, keeping the ball going. Sanderson falling to that tackle. Switch inside. Roach lets it go. Oh, chance here, and he's going to be over Thorniley. But once again, the Leeds defence carved open in the very simplest of circumstances. Tony Thorniley there going in for Warrington's second try. Just 12 minutes on the clock. That ball coming through the number 8 inside. Gregory spins out of one tackle, gives it to Thornley, and he has the easiest of jobs to go over, even though Roy Powell was in attendance. He couldn't get his hands on him properly, and two sloppy pieces of covering by Leeds have put Warrington 8-0 in front, and the kick to come from John Woods. 10 yards, 12 yards in from the left-hand touchline, and this should be a chance for Woods to put them 10-0 in front. Well, it stunned the Leeds crowd as this, the Warrington followers absolutely jubilant, and Woods comes up and just effortlessly puts that between the posts, and the score with some 13 minutes gone. It's Leeds 0, Warrington 10. Well, Leeds really have got to get back into this game, and fairly sharply. They're giving them 2 try start already. But it shouldn't be like this at all. I mean, they've been in such cracking form of recent weeks. Although they lost to Castleford, the circumstances, as I said, were a little dubious to say the least. But they've got to put that behind them and get stuck into this game. And Warrington once again, and that tackle coming in there from Dave Hearn, a little high, but referee right on the spot. He's the man that makes the decisions, and Warrington once again using this long kicking game. This time Gary Spencer will feel that one. Comes inside, looks to Ettinghausen, but falls to a tackle from Gregory. Leeds looking very pedestrian at the moment. Ooh, and a punch. Looked to be a punch from Roach, and the referee spotted that one. He's going to have a word with Roach. And Roach has been penalised there. The referee deciding a penalty to Leeds. He was right on the spot, and that's good to see. And Gary Schofield puts that one into touch. Leeds coming forward for the first time, and Warrington offside at that one. So another chance for Leeds to gain some extra ground. Chance to get right into that 25. They're running it from here. Waddell, he gets nowhere, and the Leeds forwards looking slow at the moment. So plenty of time left. Roy Powell, good tackling by Warrington. Tackle coming in there from Les Davidson. He's looking for it. Ray Ashton, oh, neatly played. Little break over 10 yards. Put Leeds now within 15 yards of the Warrington posts. With some 3 tackles remaining. Lyons setting up the move now, looking for Hearn coming as to be the first forward. He's not switched to the left, and Maskell goes under one tackle, but falls to the second one. Just now 10 yards out. Lyons, little chip through, but brilliantly saved by Mark Forster as the Leeds attack came in. Forster had to be at his best, and that's a drop out between the posts. So Leeds hitting back straight away, but still 10 points to 0 down. 16 minutes of the game gone. That ball dropping 50 yards straight into the hands of Andrew Ettinghausen. Spins out of one tackle, but can't get away from Kevin Tamati. Maskell, Waddell skips out of one tackle, but nobody in support, and he's finally pulled to the ground. My 3 Warrington tackles. Leeds coming right. Lee Crooks pushes off, hands off one man. Finally falls to Gary Sanderson. Ashton and Lyons. Lyons at the heart of, once again, of everything for Leeds. And Roy Powell. Still Leeds pressurising, but not looking for any clear gap at the moment. And once again, this time it's Dave Lyon coming across to hammer that one dead. So we've got another drop out between the posts. That's the second one in the last couple of minutes. So Leeds are piling on the pressure, but can't break with these 6 tackles that they've had. 12 tackles in succession. Still not being able to get away. And Phil Blake will take this, scorer of the first try for Warrington. And that one's skipping along the ground. And Lions with a bit of football inside to Gibson. And the Leeds backs not had any running chances as yet. And so far those 10 points, the difference between the tackling of both sides. Warrington making sure that the man in possession cannot get his pass out, and Leeds have allowed that to happen on 2 occasions. Miguel going forward. 3 tackles gone already. And he said plenty of time for this game to come back in Leeds' favour. Firmly in Warrington's at the moment. This tackle coming up. And it's a high bomb going, but it's swirling in the wind, and the ball bouncing around like a ping pong ball there, but it's finally come to Warrington. And Leeds just couldn't get on the end of that one. A chance now for Warrington to break away from their own line. Mike Gregory. So nowhere for him to go. Of course, Leeds tackling in Warrington's 25 has got to be firm, but they must make sure that when they're inside their own 25, a little bit of juggling there by Gary Sanderson, but managed to break a good 20 yards. Warrington moving with a little bit more pace than Leeds. Slipped inside to Mike Forster, should I say. Oh, and Gary Spencer a little unlucky to take that ball. He tried to keep his feet in touch, but just managed to put his studs over the line. And the 4th scrum of the game, 2 to Warrington, 1 to Leeds at the moment. And again that comes out the Warrington side, so possession in Warrington's favour, but full-back Dave Lyon there, letting that one slip between his hands and between his legs. And the referee judging to be a penalty for Leeds. Gary Schofield is going to take. He's had no chance to run the ball, but Warrington are going to have to watch that there's no long slip balls there for Schofield to get on the end of, and maybe an interception try for them. And of course Leeds will have to be very watchful that they don't do the same thing, because with Des Drummond and Mark Foster, 2 of the quickest men in the game, they could also be on the end of any slipshod passes. Lyons looking for man in support, tries to go on his own, comes inside to Stevenson. Stevenson getting the ball out. Ettinghausen, certainly a different player at full-back than he is when he's out on the wing. Many running chances with Leeds on that right flank, and David Hearns, nicely skips out of 2 tackles. Crooks throws it wildly inside. He just didn't look, and fortunately for them, Phil Blake has decided to release the ball and try and kick through, and Carl Gibson's picked it up. So Leeds back in possession, but Lee Crooks there, not a good captain's pass at all. And I'm sure that at half-time Mal Reilly's going to have something to say if Leeds is still in this position. A good play there by Ettinghausen, gets it out to Spencer. Spencer to Brooke Cowden. Brooke Cowden looked to be tackled there. Spencer kicks ahead. There's a lace for the ball. And Lyons has got it. Well, terrible play there. That was Gary Spencer kicking ahead, a chase for the ball. The Warrington players remonstrating with the referee, but Mike Gregory, although he went to the referee there, and let's have a look at it again. Ettinghausen in line, Spencer taking the pass from Brooke Cowden, looked to be playing, and Les Lyons pulling the number 7 Paul Bishop out of the way, and that's what the Warrington players were complaining about, but the referee has decided that it was 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And a chance now for David Stevenson to put Leeds right back in this match. It's wide out on the right, it's high, but it's wide, and so Leeds now 4, Warrington 10. Controversy there with that try by Cliff Lyons, but a nice play between Brooke Cowden and Gary Spencer. Spencer's kick through, Lyons on it like a flash, although he did look to pull Paul Bishop out of the way. Once again, the referee well positioned. And so, with some 22 minutes of the game gone, it's Leeds 4, Warrington 10. Now, can Leeds capitalise on that try and pull this game back so that they're going at half-time somewhere near, or in fact even in front? Lyons, long kick, straight into the hands of Dave Lyon. Same name, just without the S. It's developing into quite a struggle between these two sides. Warrington saying without their coach now, Clive Griffiths in charge today. Leeds and Mal really have been playing some superb football of late. And say even though they lost to Castleford, their league form has been tremendous in recent times, and they look to be just beginning to string things together. Oh, Forster coming inside. Just a little bit more pace from Warrington at the moment, but Leeds trying their best, and well, that was a drop goal attempt which struck the referee, and nice side-footed pass to Carl Gibson by Cliff Lyons. Fortunately, Gibson was equal to the pass, picked it up neatly. And David Stevenson coming into this game quite well at the moment. Too many players just not performing at their best at the moment. And Warrington with a shade more speed, a little bit more aggression. Lee Crooks, oh, gets that ball nicely out. Brooke Cowden hands on to Ettinghausen, and the referee deciding that that pass was forward. Possibly did look a little bit that way, but as the speed of the move developed, the referee once again right on the spot, and having a superb game today. And if you're a Warrington fan, you won't be thinking that after the Leeds try, but certainly he's on the spot for every decision that's been made. And Warrington come away with that. John Woods trying to break away, but his opposite number Lyons with a good firm tackle, arms and chest, so he couldn't release the ball. Drummond not had the chance to run at the moment. Of course, there's always danger when Drummond's about. Some of the quickest backs in the league around, and the forwards must be sure that their passes are true, and now lost that ball, and that one definitely went forward. So again, the referee only 5 yards away from it, and the scrum. Scrum's 4-1 in Warrington's favour. And Ray Ashton to put this one in. Newton coming out the Leeds side. And a little bit more possession for Leeds. And once again, Ettinghausen coming into that line. He's normally when he plays on a wing, he has to forage inside for it. Well, on full-back, certainly getting more into the game, and Leeds can use his strength and undoubted speed in that position. Gary Spencer has still retained his place in the side, and up on the right wing. Roy Powell brought to ground by Paul Bishop. Stevenson offloading, but Maskell and Ashton can't get their hands on that, and the referee allowed play on. He allowed the first forward pass to go untroubled, and then when Ashton couldn't keep hold of it, he's given the possession to Warrington. Foster looking dangerous coming in off of that left wing. Remember the Rodstock sprint challenge when he chased Martin Afire all the way. Just to be careful, Miss Leeds, of Foster's speed. And fortunately for Paul Bishop, that ball going backwards. And Blake looking for someone to pass to. He's chasing in, so he's gone round the outside. Beautiful play inside to Drummond. Drummond's on his own. He's done his once, he's done his twice, and he's over. Well, Leeds, really, that's the third time now in succession that once they've been inside the Leeds 25, Warrington have managed to score, and that was just so simple. Phil Blake looked to have nowhere to go. He shaped a kick to touch once, decided to run round the outside. In fact, he lost his boot in the process, went round the outside, slipped the ball to Drummond. Drummond dummied once, dummied twice, and skipped over the line. Well, Mal Reilly, I'm sure, will be having some very strong words with his defence. The Leeds players to the right of the post, really having a long chat together. What are we going to do about this? Well, they really must do something. The tackling's atrocious inside the 25, and John Woods just tosses that one between the posts. Let's look at that one. Blake shaping to look to touch, goes round David Stevenson, cuts inside, nobody tackles him at all, and Des Drummond just says thank you very much. An easiest try that Drummond will probably score this season. Woods converting, 16 points to 4 in Warrington's favour, and Leeds with a lot to do, and Drummond now breaking free inside. Fornelly there, buried by some Leeds defenders, but they really have to bury the man in possession inside that 25. I've said it once this afternoon, I'll probably say it a few more times the way Leeds are tackling at the moment. And I think that when Mal really gets hold of them at half-time, he's really going to have a lot to say. And once again, Warrington piling into the Leeds 25. And the Leeds contingent in the crowd, very quiet at the moment. Woods, good tackling by Brooke Cowden and Powell. But it really has to be, and I think they'll be thankful that Phil Blake, who scored the first try for Warrington and created the second one, not only dropped that, but it was on the sixth tackle as well. Waddell. And the difference at the moment certainly is the forwards. Warrington's forwards running onto the ball with tremendous speed and power, and Leeds at the moment just looking as though they've woken from the slumbers, the cold, perhaps like a car on a cold morning, finding it difficult to start up. And the Lamborghinis of Warrington at the moment against the chugging minis of Leeds. But there's plenty of time for that to change. Still some 50 minutes of the game remaining. We're coming into the last 10 minutes of the first half. And Ashton with a good kick, but just failing to find touch. Dave Lyon picking that one up. (16-4) in Warrington's favour. The home side on the receiving end at the moment. And now these Warrington players are showing their new coach that he's going to have a difficulty in picking anybody from the A-team because they're performing superbly today. Gibson picking up that kick, didn't find touch by Lyon. And Leeds back still without that running chance. Their try coming from Cliff Lyons, chasing a kick through by Gary Spencer, and in a brush with Paul Bishop, managing just to get the touchdown. And lack of ideas as well until that man Lyons gets the ball. Stevenson gets it out to Gibson, but tap around the head by Des Drummond. And I was assured this season by some of the referees that head-eye tackles were being outlawed. Well, they seem to be in the first couple of weeks, but since then all sorts of things seem to be going on, and the number of letters written in the Rugby League about it seem to bear out my point of view that referees are no longer pinning it down. Not really anything above shoulder height has not been penalised at the moment. Leeds with that ball. The ball rebounding off of a Warrington player, but nowhere to go. And in fact, they've lost ground, and Ray Ashton in that tackle lost the ball. Referee deciding it had gone forward. It looked, in fact, to go behind Ray Ashton, and Kevin Tomati was on it like a flash. But that's the first slightly dubious decision that the referee has made today. That one coming out the Leeds side, and once again Leeds have possession. And once again it's Lyons' powerhouse standoff half but he's the man at the moment that's having to do everything for Leeds. And there's nothing coming from the rest of them at the moment. Waddell's trying hard, but not managing to release the ball in the tackle as much as he usually does. Maskell, Heron, and how Leeds need a try coming up with some 6 or 7 minutes remaining of the first half. They really do need to go in at half-time with at least a try under their belts. 5 tackles, the referee deciding, and that's a kick through by Ashton, but straight into the hands of Dave Lyon. Not high enough and not deep enough for his players to run onto, giving Lyon plenty of time to take that ball. I've seen Leeds a number of times this season. This is my first time watching Warrington. So this is not the Leeds that I've watched on numerous occasions. And the first real cold snap of the winter, and seems to be affecting Leeds and not Warrington. A little argument off the ball, but the referee once again allowing play to go on. Spencer coming in off the touchline, just as Ettinghausen has had to do many times this season. And it's going to be Ettinghausen who's played the ball. Absolutely swamped there by 4 tacklers. And Hugh Waddell looking for some support, but he's still got hold of it, and he's handed it off to Maskell, and the referee has decided that in handing it off there, the ball bounced forward. Hugh Waddell perhaps should have kept control of that ball a little longer. Instead, frustration showing, and he's trying to keep the game moving. He's given the ball away, and feeding by the Warrington scrum half, Paul Bishop. Good luck to go in his second row. He didn't think so, the referee did. And Gary Schofield, really, I've seen very little of him this afternoon, kicking into touch 10 yards inside the Warrington half, and that's about all that Schofield's had to do so far. Very little of the possession. And 4 Leeds forwards racing for that ball. Not one of them knew who was to be the first man in the line, and really at half-time, Mal really has to sort them out. Ashton going on his own. It's one-man rugby at the moment from Leeds. Not the free-flowing style we're used to. And Warrington thoroughly deserving to be 16-4 in front at this stage. As hard as Waddell has tried, and as hard as Lyons has tried to get the team moving, I think that drop ball by Lee Crooks sums up Leeds' first half performance. Coming into the last 5 minutes. And how they need a little piece of magic from Gary Schofield. Oh, and chance here, ball is dropped. Scrum's in Warrington's favour at the moment. And Ashton to put this one in. Leeds need the possession. Comes out their side, and instead of getting the ball, Ashton's accused of feeding. And so both scrum halves now with 1 feed apiece. It's been penalised. And Mike Gregory telling his players, come on, let's calm down, to make sure that we go in 16-4 up at half-time. 12-point cushion. Will be very nice to have in the second half, because I'm sure that Leeds certainly will come out in the second half and play a lot better than they have in this first half. Once again, Warrington keeping that ball moving. Good play. Leeds acting half. Dummies one way, goes round the other. Oh, and that looked forward, and the referee certainly right on the spot. And the Leeds fans giving him a jeer there to say, well, it's not the first time it's gone forward. And Gary Schofield. Stevenson out to Gibson. Gibson breaking ground, but right under us here. Our commentary position perched high in the south stand. Once again, Leeds going forward. With little chance to break clear. And they've gained very little ground in these tackles. Lee Crooks and Cliff Lyons just getting a pass there that was so short and low that couldn't pick that one up. Coming into the last minute, and Warrington gaining the ball from that scrum. Run around move, Woods held on to by Gary Schofield, Mike Gregory, into the ground by Lyons, and Lyons has had a super game, and Gregory pushing him off there, only trying to keep the ball out of his hands when he had it on the floor. Seems to be a legitimate tactic. And Davidson inside the 25, and this is where Warrington have been at the most dangerous. Ooh, that pass is being held. Going for the line, it's Steve Roach, 10 yards out, and Warrington piling on the pressure again, and Leeds can ill afford to give anything away at this stage. Blake, long ball out, Woods, Gregory out to Thornley, held on to by Stevenson, Des Drummond, and the handover, 6 tackles. Carl Gibson anxious to get on with the game, and Warrington caught offside. Fairly obvious that was going to happen, the speed that Leeds took that play, the ball. Moved the ball quickly. Last the tackling was onto a man. And we come now with only some 30 seconds remaining of the first half. Leeds 4, Warrington 16. And the Leeds fans will be anxious for this first half to be over with, hoping that Mal Reilly can inject some enthusiasm and pace and power into his side at half-time. I don't think there's going to be much time for a drink of tea. They're going to be in for a real roasting. If they get roasted, it might warm them up. Lloyd Powell juggling with that one. Oh, and he's lost the ball. Pinched in the tackle. And Mark Roberts coming away to Marty. Oh, and at last, from furthering the tackle from Leeds, they win that ball back. Maskill, it's opposite number to Marty, bringing him to the ground. And finally, this Leeds pitch as well has lost the criss-cross pattern that he'd had on it when they dug the 6-inch channels in to get the drainage and the levelling out right. It's looking more like a rugby pitch now, less like a checkerboard. And referee once again right on the spot there at that tackle, making sure it was nothing untoward going on. Ashton, Moskell, all getting it away to Brooke Cowden. Leeds coming towards the end of this first half. We've already played a minute of stoppage time and time wasting, and Heron just drops that one and just looks crestfallen. And Leeds also caught offside. Mike Gregory just puts the ball down, says to his men, take your time, 12-point lead. Do nothing silly, find a good touch, and we've got another 6 tackles. We must be very, very close to that whistle going. And Phil Blake's try early on has given him 15 tries now this season, equal to Gary Schofield, so the 2 number 3s. Oh, and Schofield steps inside. Can he go all the way? He's over the halfway line, but he's caught, and he'd nobody to hand on to there. Dave Lyon coming back. Gary Schofield just couldn't get away there. Normally when he intercepts like that, you'd expect him to go, but he'd far too much to do. Nobody in support, and dragged to the ground. And Carl Gibson, as Leeds get inside the 25. And they spent very little time inside that Warrington 25. And when they have done, it's hardly been to good effect. Warrington They've only really been in the Leeds 25 on 4 occasions. 3 times they've scored tries. Finishing everything in this game. Thrown inside by Schofield. Maskell ducks inside one tackle, going for the line. Can Leeds score just before half-time? Lee Crooks, 5 yards out, 3 yards out now. Maskell to play the ball. Ashton first man. Schofield's waiting there. Ashton kicks diagonally across, but it goes straight in the hands of Paul Bishop. Paul Bishop's got men outside him. Blake steps outside one tackle. He's lost his boot for the second time. He's going with one. He hands off Gibson. But Gibson drags him to the ground. And the linesman's in. Fists flying. Blake's got a punch in the face. Lost a boot. Certainly in the wars. And Carl Gibson's going to be spoken to. And that was very nearly disaster for Leeds. Lost the ball right on the line when Ray Ashton kicked diagonally across, straight into the hands of Paul Bishop. Paul Bishop raced away, outside to Phil Blake. Phil Blake lost his boot for the second time, but was well caught by Carl Gibson. Gibson looking to do a little bit more than tackle him, and the referee giving a penalty. And once again, Warrington inside the Leeds 25, going for the line, Les Davidson. The hooter goes with the score, Leeds 4, Warrington 16, Phil Blake's try, followed by a Thornley try and a Woods conversion. Cliff Lyons pulling 4 points back for Leeds, and then Des Drummond's try and a Woods conversion in that half-time scoreline, Leeds 4, Warrington 16. First tackle, and makes to the 25. And Waddell, powerhouse in the first half, but really have nobody with him. Forwards have got to play better. Lee Crooks has got to set an example as well and lead his forwards. Neatly played by Lyons. What a find this man is for Leeds. But straining hands of Drummond, but Drummond's hammered to the ground. Still Warrington in possession. Forward. Leeds need some points on the board quickly. Warrington will be hoping, of course, that they can do the same. I think that one's just bounced straight into touch with the ball back. A bit difficult to see from where we're sat because my view at my left eye is obscured by a pillar. That ball just passing behind it, just dropping a yard over the line. So Leeds in possession. Should be from the scrum, and they do. Lyons, Ettinghausen using his power and pace to good effect. Certainly seeing far more little ball than normal. And Gary Spencer, of course, out on the right wing, seeing just about as much ball as Ettinghausen normally does. Lyons jinking one way, comes round the other, but nobody to play it to, but they kept possession. Waddell turns in the tackle looking for a layoff, but the only layoff he gets is for his face into the dirt. Crooks, gets that ball easily taken by Hurren. Hurren out all round the back of David Stevenson. 2 fine pieces of handling, David Stevenson to Roy Powell. 15 yards out. Well, 2 superb pieces of handling there by Hurren and by David Stevenson. And now Leeds in with a good chance. Ashton, Lyons inside to Gary Schofield, but Schofield keeps the ball moving. Ashton out to Ettinghausen looking on the blind side. Leeds just can't find that little break that they need in the Warrington cover, but that was better from Leeds. They're really trying now. Gary Schofield with the outside of his right boot, that ball swirling in the breeze. You can see the flag in the right-hand corner there, blowing away. and they pinned Warrington behind their own line. Gary Schofield with that high up and under there, the ball spinning off the right-hand side of his boot, neatly done, and well held in under pressure. Lee Crooks picks it up, drives into the 25, floored by Mike Gregory. And the Leeds fans at last with something to shout about. 37 minutes of this game remaining for Leeds to pull back this 12-point deficit. Maskell, Heron round the outside, Davy Stevenson. He's going to be bundled into touch and lost the ball in the process. So now the referee giving a scrum. First scrum of the second half. Scrums in the first half, 6-4 to Warrington. And Warrington get that one as well. And a chance to break away from their own 25. Mike Gregory. Fine captain's game in the first half. And number 10 locked in the arms of David Heron. Referee right on the spot. Who went up from the crowd as the tackle came in, but I didn't see anything untoward in it. And 5 tackles gone. And Rooney kicked. Long by Dave Lyon. But Carl Gibson will take this with ease and sets off. Stevenson. Good ground made by Stevenson. He's having a fine game in the second half. We're only 5 minutes into it, but he's been in the thick of the action. Waddell. I don't know how long it will be before we see the speed and pace of Paul Medley coming on. Certainly turned a few games in his time with Leeds this season. Significantly the Yorkshire Cup game against Bradford. On his inclusion, Leeds were 21 points to 8 down, gave them the fillip for victory. And the referee has seen something there. And, forward pass it was. So it's a scrum down. Right on halfway. Fraction inside the Warrington half. And Warrington have that ball again. Des Drummond. Good tackle coming in from Lyons. Only is Lyons a good playmaker, but also defends well in middle of the field. Bishop bringing the ball out to Mark Roberts. Roberts back to Bishop. Bishop keeping the ball moving. Gary Sanderson dumped to the ground then that tackle with Ray Ashton and Colin Maskell. And Maskell to Marty, so hookers in contention. Only one winner in that one. And Bishop. This time, one going into touch just inside the Leeds 25. Fairly end-to-end stuff this first 6 minutes. But Leeds really need it to be at the other end, and Warrington will be quite happy if the status quo remains. And Leeds winning that one, the ball never going in the scrum, but part of the Warrington front row managing to kick it to the Leeds scrum half. Crooks to be running with a little bit more vigour in the second half. And Waddell doing his usual heavy stint, looking for hand that ball off, but unfortunately for him, Steve Roach and Les Davidson had him tight. Oh, good play by Maskell. Cowden to play the ball, but Ashton throws him away. Says, get out of the way, leave it to us. And Lyons kicking long and deep, but straight to Mark Forster. And all by Gary Schofield. Schofield again. And Woods gets that one away to Gregory. Gregory running around the side of Phil Blake. Phil Blake this time can't get anywhere. Tormentor of Leeds in the first half. And that try and his pass to Drummond set up their third try. So 3 tries to 1 in Warrington's favour. And 16 points to 4 in front. There's 2 goals coming from Woods conversions, and nicely played by Ettinghausen. Gibson goes for the gap. Gibson out to Schofield. Schofield jinks inside one man, comes outside the other, and poor old Harry Spencer there just didn't know where to run when Schofield was going. There's an inexperience on the wing. Schofield was looking for him on a couple of occasions, but unfortunately he was found to be in hiding. Now we switch to the other wing. Gibson going for the line, but hammered inside the 25 by Blake. Lions again gaining no ground, but at least at the right end of the field to reduce this 12-point deficit. 9 minutes of the game, of the second half gone. 31 minutes remaining for Leeds to pull something out of the fire. Waddell once again is staying in the tackle. Crooks handing it over, but straight into the hands of Thornley. Tony Thornley grateful to accept that ball and give chance for Warrington to clear the line. Strong tackle by Colin Maskell on Mark Roberts. Woods. Oh, kept going. Woods again. Gregory. It's a good tackling by the Leeds forwards. Lee Crooks in that tackle, and Roberts is not very happy about that. Sorry, it's Mike Gregory that's not very happy about that. Again, Lee Crooks is crunching tackle on him there. Now the ball to escape, and ball coming out on the Leeds side. Stepping inside, Stevenson. And again, the support. This time he was looking on the wrong side of him for the support. Ashton and Lyons had gone the other way. Heron, Schofield nicely timed pass. Crooks throws it out to Spencer. Once again, all a little rushed and frantic. But they're really trying hard. Leeds have put it together in this second half. Just needs the timing of the pass to be right. Cliff Lyons dropped that one. That's unusual for him. Once again, a good position lost by a slightly sloppy pass, and just taking his eye off the ball at the wrong moment. It's Marty. Brings it to play the ball. Leeds need this win, of course, 4th place at the moment, and with Castleford and St Helens playing today, a chance if one of them slips up to gain ground, but they're going to have to win this game. That's the second time that Paul Bishop has kicked directly into touch. And in the 6th tackle, of course, they've given the ball back to Leeds. Warrington, of course, will be hoping for 2 points as well, because that will put them a little bit higher in the table. Warrington standing on 8 points. Leeds on 12. And Urudell making a lot of good ground there, covering 15 yards, even with 2 players round him. David Heron for the gap. Lee Crooks. Once again, the Warrington tackling is firm and decisive. And Leeds fans really trying to will their side on. Brooke Cowden trying to go around the outside. Gary Schofield. That's going to be up high. Underneath it is Lyon. And in fact, the referee was getting in David Heron's way there. Heron was racing in on that, but the referee right in the way of Heron, and finished up on the deck. And it's going to be penalty from 25. And Paul Medley's on. Paul Medley in the thick of the action already. And Sam Bacco's on as well, so Leeds now throwing the substitutes into the action. Dell and Brooke Cowden off, Bacco and Medley on. Will it make a lot of difference? It's not making any difference at the moment because Warrington have been given a penalty for holding down at the play the ball. And Dave Lyon makes some useful ground. And it's still Leeds 4, Warrington 16. And now Leeds need a try. 26 minutes of the game remaining. Coming in there at speed, Les Davidson, but driven back by some good Leeds tackling. Powell getting a kick in the face. Going down, the game continuing. Gregory. Lyon with nowhere to go. Tamati. Swamped by Bacco. 5 tackles gone. And Bishop trying a drop goal, but that's well off target. Left foot kick. Going well wide. Bacco shoulder charge by Les Davidson. Retribution will be sought for that one, I would think, a little later on. Time ticking away, 25 minutes remaining. And Ashton, he's shoulder charged as well by Davidson. Davidson roughhousing the Leeds players at the moment. A long kick. Lyons looking for touch, but it's going to go straight to Mark Forster. Oh, and well, that's not the way a quality winger should take the ball. Looked to be so easy. Took his eye off of it, just like slip catches in cricket. You've only got to take your eye off it for a second and it's down. So inside the Warrington 25, and Leeds at last, after 5 minutes in their own half, have the chance. Schofield, Stevenson and Lyons. Ettinghausen out to Gibson. Gibson going for the corner, steps inside Thornley, but Thornley gets him. Drummond dives over the top. Everybody in the action. Woods there as well. Lyons skips under one tackle. Mike Gregory grasps him. Leeds going for the line. They really need this try. The crowd rising to their feet now, hoping that Leeds can get this point. David Stevenson looking to release the ball in the tackle. Does so. Ashton throws it loose. Maskell knocks it back. And Leeds keeping possession. This is in the Warrington 25. Heron, Crooks held up in the tackle, looking to get it away, but he just can't. Gary Schofield really doesn't need to be able to play the ball. He needs to be in a dangerous position. Stevenson, Lyons, and Lyons threw it out to Gibson. Gibson had come inside and the ball goes straight into touch. Feverish play by Leeds, the action feverish as well. But they just cannot get that final telling pass out. But they're really trying hard. They might not have played very well in the first half, but the second half they're putting all out the stops. But Warrington's tackling and some misplaced passes are just holding them back at the moment. And the referee has decided on a penalty to Leeds, presumably for offside. Medley going for the line. He was saying to me after the Yorkshire Cup final that he needs to give his pass, his thing going, and Bacco has lost the ball, and so have Warrington. As I was saying, Medley said that he needs to get his fitness to be 100% so he can last the whole 80 minutes, but when he's come on as substitute, he's certainly done a lot of damage. And Bacco trying to hook that ball. The ball never went anywhere near. And he's doing it again, and Warrington have got the ball, and a little bit of fisticuffs from Ashton and Bishop. The referee deciding that Ashton was at fault. And a penalty awarded to Warrington. Leeds can ill afford to give away penalties in the Warrington 25. They must get that possession, or if necessary, hold Warrington back. Certainly not giving away penalties which gain them 20 yards. Oh, Leeds forwards flying on, and Maskell's kicked ahead. Lyon going for it, and he's going to have to kick it dead. Gary Schofield was in after him. And so excitement for the Leeds crowd. Warrington under pressure, but at the moment holding out. Coming up to halfway through the second half, so only 20 minutes remaining. And Bishop kicks it straight into the hands of Bacco on the 25. And that was a bad kick. The pressure now really on Warrington. Warrington making sure that their men are well back. Stepping inside was Paul Medley. And Warrington covering, defensive tackling is good. And the referee has given the penalty against Mark Roberts. Holding down. And it happened a moment or two earlier when they were trying to regroup. And the referee is saying, well, it's the second time it's happened. And Leeds continuing to press forward. Sam Bacco bounces off Kevin Tomati. David Stevenson been in the thick of the action inside the Warrington 25. That elusive breakthrough is just not there. Crooks still 15 yards out. And Leeds, this is not the Leeds of the last few weeks. Maskell, Medley, and bouncing off like a ping pong ball there. And some feet up. And he couldn't have done it in a worse place, because the linesman with the red flag was right under another 6 tackles to Leeds. Roy Powell, can he get the ball away? Throws it to David Heron, and Paul Bishop is right on the spot to dive on that one, and those tackles are wasted. And Warrington, they're getting apprehensive. They're throwing some wild passes out. There's a lot of off-the-ball incidents going on, but it's keeping the crowd on very warm on this bitterly cold afternoon. My cameramen here are absolutely shivering and shaking with the cold, because they can't move about on the spot, because otherwise you get a shaky picture. Well, that ball is shaking from one set of hands to another. Both sides losing possession inside the Warrington 25. Notice that the gloves that have been worn by certain people of late have been outlawed. Ronnie Gibbs of Castleford was one of them, but I think some eye injuries have resulted, and so the powers that be have said that these gloves have got to stop, so they'll have to have their hands called, like all rugby league players did in the past. Mark Roberts hands off 1 or 2 players and makes a good 15 yards. So finally we're out of the Warrington 25, and we're certainly going to be out of it now as Dave Lyon kicks long. Andrew Ettinghausen goes back to pick it up, and he's got 3 Warrington defenders on him, but he easily evades 2 of them. It's going round Thornley as well, but Thornley gets a grip of his shirt and pulls him down inside the 25. Well, Warrington fans will breathe easily for a few minutes anyway. And the Leeds fans will be hoping that some long-range breaks by their backs can get them away. Lee Crooks throws that one long. That'll have to be a danger. Ooh, and Des Drummond looked late on that tackle, but with away with Carl Gibson. Gary Schofield. Ashton jinks one way, goes the other. Out to Stevenson. Stevenson to Heron. Ball goes to ground, but Ashton keeps it alive. Crooks is trying his best as well, but he's got nobody in support. The feature of Lee's play of late has been their approach work and their backing up, but today it hasn't been that good. Schofield. Gibson. Schofield goes round the outside, but Gibson can't break away. He has done, but finally falling to Des Drummond. This try just will not come. Leeds have had plenty of possession. Lyons kicking through. Oh, and that was a very late tackle coming in on Cliff Lyons. He'd kicked through. 2 men blocked his way, one round his neck. But the referee has let play go on. And Warrington, that looked forward as well. Forster's going, he's only got Ettinghausen with him, but Ettinghausen barges him into touch. And Ettinghausen had no cover with him at all there. Gary Spencer hadn't got back. And there's the danger of Mark Forster. Leeds will have to be careful when they're attacking in the Warrington 25 that they don't throw out any stupid passes, because Forster showed his speed there and only Ettinghausen's cover stopped him from scoring. Oh, lovely play by Schofield. And a ballerina on this surface there. Twisting and turning, pirouetting, but couldn't get away. 25 minutes gone, 15 minutes remaining. Still Leeds 4, Warrington 16. It's the half-time scoreline, and although Leeds have had plenty of possession and have worked really hard in this half, they're really trying everything they know. They just cannot reduce this 12-point deficit. Lee Crooks. It's been one of Lee Crooks' better games, but he gets it out to Gary Spencer. Oh, held on by Mike Gregory. 6 points would do Leeds the world of good here. Keeping it moving, and Gary Schofield looking for the pass to his opposite centre, drops the ball. And Leeds once again in possession. Winning that ball from that scrum. Ashton, Lyons, Medley, David Stevenson going for the corner. Oh, and a good recovery tackle by Des Drummond. He came from nowhere there. I thought Stevenson was going to be in. And once again, Drummond hanging on to Cliff Lyons. Well, what a difference this second half has been from the first. Schofield, Ettinghausen throws it out to the wing. He's going to go in at the corner. It's a good try by Gary Spencer. His first real chance of the game. Ettinghausen threw out a long pass. I was looking for Forster nipping in and picking it up, but it went straight into the hands of Gary Spencer, and he did the rest, powering in at the corner. What a good try by Leeds. And that's now put fresh heart into them. In the 27th minute, that try coming. 13 minutes remaining for Leeds now to pull back those 8 remaining points that they're behind, and a chance for 2 more when David Stevenson kicks from wide out here on the right-hand side. 41 goals already this season. And Leeds have finally made that pressure tell. 8 points to 16. Warrington with an 8-point difference. And David Stevenson with the responsibility of reducing it down to 6. And how Leeds need this kick to go over. Well, he's certainly got the height, but he just hasn't got the direction. It fades to the right of the post. And with some 13 minutes remaining, it's now Leeds 8, Warrington 16. So look at that again. Heron, Schofield. Schofield turns the ball to Ettinghausen. Ettinghausen looking along for Gary Spencer, gets it. And although Thornley comes across, Spencer crashes in at the corner. Well, Andrew Ettinghausen's been a success at fullback for Leeds, but I'm afraid he's been one of the only ones. David Stevenson had a good second half, and Cliff Lyons has been in the thick of the action most of the time, but to be honest, too many players having a below par day today. Once again, Leeds keeping it going. Medley spins out of one tackle, but Drummond's done a lot of good tackling on that right flank for Warrington. Brooks, and he's lost the ball. And Warrington now will be looking maybe to add a drop goal or a penalty. Keep the ball in the Leeds half. John Woods had a fairly quiet second half. And scrum down for a forward pass. A chance for Leeds mates to get the ball once again and try and get back this 8-point difference. Separates the sides at the moment. Leeds 8, Warrington 16. And we're coming into the last 11 minutes. Cliff Lyons, Ettinghausen once again in the line. So swamped by his opposite number, Lyon. And John Woods. And Cliff Lyons having a little set too. And well, Cliff Lyons pulled Woods off of the tackle. Exchanged punches, and the referee has once again decided that although the Leeds man probably got in the better of the fisting, it's a penalty to Warrington. Right under us here. Once again, stop our teeth from chattering and have a quick drink of warm tea. It's absolutely bitterly cold, and I'm sure some of these players' hands will be, fingers will be very numb. But it's certainly the second half keeping the crowd warm. And they're stamping their feet to keep them warm as well. Well, Warrington not being in the Leeds 25 for some time. Breaking new ground. Mike Gregory. Oh, good ball inside, Forster. And the ball still keeping with the Warrington, but it's gone to ground and it's a knock-on. Coming in now, 10 minutes remaining. Still Leeds 8, Warrington 16. And Ashton to put in. And Bacco once again hooking that ball. And Maskell's seen it in the second half in the scrum. Stevenson breaking one tackle. Gibson's not had a running chance this game. And again, once again, it's Des Drummond who's in on him like a flash. And not really easy, in on him like a flash, but he throws him a good 5 yards away as well. And the referee this time deciding that between John Woods and Des Drummond, they've put the fist in. And he's given a penalty, another penalty for talking, and another 10 yards gained by Leeds. So chance here for Leeds now. Barnstorming, last 10 minutes. Bacco goes forward. He's been fairly quiet since he came on. Roy Powell. Leeds desperately needing a try to reduce the Leeds have to be very careful here about interceptions. They're in the 25, they mustn't throw out any stupid passes. They've really got to make this possession tell at this stage. Going to the left flank again. Oh, nicely played by Bacco. Twists out of that tackle, he can't just get the ball away. Schofield. Ashton. Lyons throwing it away. Foster's in. Foster's away. He's intercepted. He's got Ettinghausen with him. Ettinghausen can't catch him. Foster's weaving and twisting and turning. Ettinghausen just can't get that yard to him because of it, and Foster's over. What a superb try by Mark Foster. Well, I only said just seconds ago that they had to be careful in those sort of positions. Cliff Lyons throws out a wild pass. Mike Foster picks it out of the air. And although Andrew Ettinghausen was with him, Mark Foster did exactly the right thing, and you'll see it coming up here. There's the pass. Foster's in. He picks it out of the air. Ettinghausen's within striking distance of him, but Foster knows that. He knows where he's going. Ettinghausen doesn't. He's weaving, twisting and turning, and he's behind the post. And, well, Andrew Ettinghausen had a despairing lunge at him at the end, but Mark Foster showed how to do it there. What a superb try. John Woods kicks the goal. The score, Leeds 8, Warrington 22, and that probably will seal the game for Warrington. Well, that was a superb example to any youngster watching that of how a winger should take the ball when he's got a man very close to him, because you know where you're going and the tackler doesn't. He twisted and turned and just kept that extra yard away from Ettinghausen. And although Ettinghausen probably had equal speed, he just couldn't get back to him. Well, disaster for Leeds. They were looking so well in control at that stage, looking as though another 6 points and it were in for a barnstorming last 5 minutes, but it's now Leeds 8, Warrington 22, and Leeds are going to have to really pull something out of the fire with just now 7 minutes remaining. Going up Yorkshire, but it's not to be, I think, this afternoon, this stage. But, stranger things have happened. Four tries to two in Warrington's favour at the moment. And we've got a scrum midway inside the Leeds half. 14 points the difference, and 6 minutes remaining. And had Leeds played the way they have in the second half during the first, then we would have had a better game on our hands. But that sloppy first 10 minutes has certainly cost them this match. Instead of being an 80-minute side, as we've seen them of late, they've only been a 40-minute side today. And a penalty to Leeds. And Cliff Lyons coming for some fairly rough handling. A lot of sides know now that he's the Leeds playmaker. He dictates the game for Leeds. And certainly he's had some fine games, none more so than today. Ashton, Bacco. Gregory gets hold of him, but Bacco breaks out at one time, pushes away Mark Roberts. Yet to settle in properly, Sam Bacco, but gaining in confidence week by week. Ashton, Ettinghausen. I'm sure that Andrew Ettinghausen's been one of the pluses in this side today. Leeds made good ground into the Warrington half. Neither tried desperately. Ettinghausen again. And Lee Crooks. And he looks really crestfallen there as the ball goes to the Warrington side. they've got to keep pushing hard, and Warrington have as well, because with some 4.5 minutes remaining, it's still anybody's game. If Leeds could get a couple of quick tries, which can certainly happen, it could be anybody's match. But Warrington, with this 14-point lead, look fairly safe. And a fine all-round team performance by Warrington, with Clive Griffiths in charge. And Bishop puts that one wide of Gary Spencer, and driving Leeds back into their own 25. And I've just knocked over half of the videos that have been taken for this game. You hear the crash, you'll know what it is. Crowd 9,167, the first crowd here at Headingley below 10,000 this season. And Leeds charged towards the top of the division, just being halted by Warrington. And there goes the hooter. Final score, Leeds 8, Warrington 16. Warrington with that 16 points to 4, half-time advantage. Gary Spencer reduced the arrears to 16 points to 8, but Mark Foster's interception try and Wood's conversion giving us a final score, Leeds 8, Warrington 22, and I'm afraid not one of the best performances by Leeds this season. They've lost the opportunity to close the gap on Castleford and St Helens, and their fans will go away hoping that they can get back to the form which they had when they won the Yorkshire Cup, and which seems to have reduced since they lost last week against Castleford. The final score, Leeds 8, Warrington 22.